Show is on the go, and we are really on the go today because we've been here for a few hours, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
My name is Sunda. I'm your host for Talk Show on the Ghost, right, because it's Halloween coming up. No, it's Talk Show on the Go, and I'm not ghosting anyone, although I did think that this legendary guest next to me was ghosting me for so many years when she was so busy. I present to you the one and only Miss Cassandra Williams of W.E.T PR, W.E.T PR. Cassandra, thank you for being here today.
Oh, it's my privilege, Sunda. Such a privilege.
It's been wonderful. You had your hair and makeup done today by Tasha Counts. Tell me how that was.
That Tasha, now, I gave her something to work with, but that girl, she did not play. Y'all get Tasha after I get through with her.
Exactly.
She's amazing.
Not only is she amazing, but she felt something good with you. And I'm glad that we can say that,
okay.
You're
Thank
a good
you.
person, that you will not work with people you don't feel good with. And I'm glad that we feel good together because we're going to make a lot of good things happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
For being here, for helping so many people's careers, for making, that shidduch, that relationship between Paul Mooney and Sandra Bernhardt and myself. I feel so blessed that you put us together, working together. And how can you handle that insane asylum?
You too, you and Paul, it was a blessing. First of all, let me get that part out of the way. So when you get your Emmy and all that, I'll be able to run on the stage with the two of you. They should create an award called the Endurance Award for Publicist of the Year. But the two of you, the energy that you two had for each other on and off the stage was real. And in this industry, Sunda, as you know, it's not real. People have ulterior motives for whatever reason. And you two made it easy for me personally, only because you made sure that you were ready when you hit that stage.
Well, listen, we wouldn't have been ready without you. And I often wonder how you got in, give me a little information about Cassandra Williams. Cassandra Williams before publicity. Cassandra Williams, I once heard you were a singer, if I'm not mistaken. Did you once open for Joan Rivers?
Yes. Yeah. The privilege to be able, and what you heard was correct. I did open for Joan Rivers.
Wow, that's a big deal.
I was in a place in West Hollywood that no longer exists called Carlos and Charlie's. And ironically, the owner of the place, Bernice looked exactly like Joan Rivers. They looked exactly alike. So when we went for the audition, we thought, oh my God, we're auditioning for Joan Rivers. But it wasn't Joan, it was the owner of the place. But I was blessed to get that 15-minute part where we opened. I had a little 5-piece band.
You're a singer?
Yes.
Oh, tell me about that.
Well, not according to Paul Mooney, but we'll talk about that later. But I just started off with a little 3-5-piece band right out of high school, and we would do weddings and receptions. And then I heard about the opportunity. They were holding auditions for 15 minutes, 10 days out of the month to open for Joan Rivers. So I was blessed to get that opportunity. We worked together. We got along. I personally had interaction with her.
Wow.
And I mean, a legend in her own right, even with all her antics. Unfortunately, my keyboard player was missing or had a car accident.
Oh, that's awful.
And
what did you do?
The sad part of what we had to do, I had to go on and not sing. I started working the audience.
Oh, my God.
Michael Landon was in the audience. Linda Evans was in the,
Old school royalty, baby.
Old school royalty. And unbeknownst to me, Johnny Cochran and his wife were celebrating their anniversary, and they were with the legendary Paul Mooney. So the fact of the matter is, Sunda, which is very embarrassing, but I have no problem repeating the story. After the show was over, keep in mind, I did my little bit. Paul Mooney came up to me and he said, you know what, little lady, you can't sing. He said, but your entertainment was off the chain. He said, your one-liners, everything about you should be a stand-up comedian. And of course, I took offense.
Of course.
Because I think I can sing,
right.
okay? So the very next day, I received a phone call from the owner, Bernice, and from one of Miss Rivers' staff members.
Oh, that's great.
They had me to come down to the restaurant. And Sunda, I got a check for $600 and a dozen roses.
For what?
Joan had fired me. I got fired. And I didn't understand why, but I was fired. I had a pity party. Of course, nobody showed up because it was Joan Rivers, you know. And Paul Mooney felt I could not sing. And I don't know really what happened after that, but the good thing about it, I always was administratively inclined. So I kept all of my contacts and phone numbers. And I decided, hey, at the time I was recently divorced. I had 2 children who I brought with me that slept in the back, you know, of the restaurant. So I had to make a living. And at that time, I was a 911 dispatcher for the city of Los Angeles Police Department. And it got to the point where I was having difficulty during the divorce, okay?
Yeah.
And so I decided to look for a real job. But I got a job in property management where I could get a free apartment.
Now that's genius.
And I worked it. I got promotions. I got transferred to Las Vegas where they were tearing down low-income housing. My part in that was, if you're going to put them out, where are these people going to live?
Right.
So I petitioned the Department of Housing Secretary in Washington, who at that time was Henry Cisneros. And they met with me, and I am responsible, happy to say, to put together the 1304 Uniform Relocation Act, which a lot of people don't know. I'm one of the writers of that.
That's amazing.
And it talks, the Uniform Relocation Act helps people to this day get benefits. You just can't holler eminent domain, put people on the street, and don't give them any money.
People don't know that.
You got to relocate them. You got to pay security deposit. So it was a whole thing that was going on during the 80s and 90s.
And you were in the administrative position of that, so that's how you probably learned a lot.
I learned a lot about housing. Well, I always have a place to live. The sad part about it with the different types of individuals who were in office, the program is still going on, but it's not as effective as it could be. But what I did, I used that opportunity because I was at low-income housing where they were tearing down projects in Las Vegas. Here I go again. I want to sing. I'm in Vegas. And I had a little company, and it was called Williams Employment and Training. And I was relocating low-income families, W.E.T.
So you've kept this acronym, Women, Entertainment, Television. What was the other one? That one is Working, Entertainers, Training. I mean, you don't play like that. That's amazing. And, you know, for you to have to manage that type of living situation for people, that had to allow you different access to so many people.
Yes, social services.
You had to be on point, so maybe that's why you can deal with comedians better than most people.
That's what people say. That's what people say. And I think you were the one. How do you deal with that?
Really, at one point, I just wonder, how do you deal with it? And especially such an imminent loss, you know, not to bring up a sad time. It's always a celebration when we talk about Paul Mooney.
Yes.
Whether it's Nigradamus or him telling Oprah, yeah, I say the N-word. I say it every morning. I say it 500 times. He said, keeps my teeth white.
Yes.
I mean, he was amazing, amazing. The trust he had in this woman is what was amazing. He didn't want anything to go out without her seeing it. He didn't want anyone to make a quote without you reviewing it.
That's correct.
And I mean, it was like babysitting. That's why we all got lost in the sauce, you all. If you want to know the truth, Paul took over.
It's true. He took over in a way only because he wanted the best, as you know.
Yes.
He didn't care. He didn't get in people's personal business, but because he was a person who always told the truth. I mean, he started with me, honey, darling, you can't sing, So we argued so much because he felt I should be doing comedy. And I only did one comedy thing to me, but he felt, you need to start doing stand-up. Paul, no. He said, you're a great publicist, but you're a great person, but you need to be doing stand-up. In my heart, I could never do stand-up. I don't think I'm funny. My husband and my kids think I'm funny. When I get my checks, sometimes I think that's funny. But a lot of times it doesn't do me justice because I really think I can sing. But I have learned that my niche is helping people.
He gave it to you.
That's my
Someone
niche.
up above. It may be a niche and it may be a blessing from God. If you want to get spiritual, how wonderful it is that in Paul's absence, we, got back together and, not to talk about someone's memorial because this is embarrassing, okay? I cannot believe this memorial that I was at where I can just name from Spike Lee to Niecy Williams to Debbie Allen to Chaka Khan. But when Chaka Khan came out, I went, oh my God, it's Chaka Khan. Debbie Allen looked at me like, if you don't sit your narrow butt down. And you got such an array of people for when I say his real memorial, they did a small one at the Laugh Factory.
At the Laugh Factory.
But they could not accommodate which you produced.
Thank you.
And
Thank
also
you.
thanks to Sandra Bernhardt, Jay Leno, and Kimmel.
Yes.
I mean, it was all champagne, food, caviar. It was like Paul was there.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
I'm going to be very, very candid. Remember the gentleman from back in the day, Mr. John Witherspoon, who was the security person over at the Comedy Store, who became a fantastic actor
yes.
with the Wayans and Friday and Friday
Right.
Next Friday. His wife, Angela Witherspoon, and Spring Mooney, Paul's youngest daughter, got in contact with me and said, we got to do something for my dad.
Right.
We have to really, and Miss Angela Witherspoon spearheaded with another gentleman named Bill Hammond Entertainment. And we sat down, and within 14 days, we put that show together. 14 days.
That was a rock concert.
14
That was a rock
days.
concert, okay? The only thing missing was Beyonce.
Exactly.
That was it, and she would have been there.
At the Roosevelt Hotel.
Yes.
And the sad part about it was, Sunda, 3 nights before we were to, have the event, we were told by the Hollywood Fire Department we had to get rid of at least 89 people on the guest list because remember, it's 2021. It's COVID. I literally was on the phone trying to pick and choose what 89 could not
Right.
come. And we talk about named celebrities. In fact, come to think of it, I think that's why I'm famous now.
Right, you got somebody mad.
I done made a lot of
You made a lot of people mad being just as peaceful as you are.
Yeah, I had to let them know, unfortunately, we will not be able to acknowledge or, accommodate you.
There were so many cameras.
It was
huge.
Wasn't it more cameras than people? Now tell the
It
truth.
was more cameras than people.
You had every media outlet there. And Roland Martin's whole production crew came in from back east and filmed it live.
I know, they covered the entire.
It's on YouTube right now. He covered it live.
That's
you know
so
what
great.
A blessing that was?
Of course it is.
The whole production, like you said, the Spike Lee, the Wayans, Debbie Allen,
Niecy. Oh my God. He loved the song Black Butterfly.
And that's the song she did. And in fact, that's the song I had gotten after my daughter, just Precious. And in fact, my daughter sang, she's on
That's
that
right.
video.
That's right.
CeCe Rain, get her album.
That's right.
It was such a blessing. And what I want to say about you that people don't really understand, at that tribute, you were starstruck. I saw you. You were right there with Spike Lee, and you was trying to act all proper and everything.
He looks like my cousin Poochie. And then we called Patterson together. Because my cousin Karen, that was Poochie's wife. And then when he saw Poochie's picture, he said, oh, your cousin married Bernie Mac? And I was like, no. We were starting drama, and people said, you weren't supposed to sit next to him. And I said, why not? He had fun. And Eddie Griffin and Tiffany and it was Guy Torrey. And which Torrey was it? It was Guy. It was the other one. It was Chris Spencer.
Joe Torrey.
It was Joe and Guy. They're brothers. I don't know how she can keep it straight. I don't know how she could keep the Mooney twins straight because I don't know which one is which. I really don't. And I don't want to say that, but I'm saying it. You had to, let me just tell you this. Paul had kids he had a harem, okay? And one's Jewish. On top of everything, he has a Jewish daughter. Am I wrong?
That is correct.
Alicia Schwartz, all right?
That is correct.
And she will tell you, I'm the Jewish one. Did anyone cover me? And I was like, how did this woman get all these people together without a fight? I can't do it in Patterson, so I don't know how you did it in Holly Rock.
It was an interesting adventure. It was a journey. And as you say, to get all of the hearts and the minds and the grieving and everything that had to be
true. It was hard.
Put together, it was extremely hard. And I was emotional, the family's emotional, but we finally got it together, as you saw at the...
Right, because I've never seen you crack a whip like that. I didn't want to mention that part. I was like, Jaime, you better sit down. Said, oh my goodness. I was like, well, it's that kind of party. Now, before we wrap up, and I do know we have to wrap, just quickly because you're so limited on time,
Yes.
If you had 3 things to tell someone about publicity and what they should always keep in mind, what would the 3 golden rules be if you could just put 3 Cassandra rules together? Besides keep your clothes on.
Time. That's number 1. Don't embellish your resume. And number 3, if you get into trouble, call your publicist before you call the police.
I bet you've had to do that a few times.
Hello, operator.
Give me number 9, and if you disconnect me, we're going to get you a little behind the refrigerator, delay
That's
a piece
it.
of glass. That's a whole other story.
Yes, it is.
On top of all of these comedians you've worked with that we mentioned in so many interviews, besides Sandra Bernhard, Paul Mooney, you've had a chance to meet Richard Pryor.
Yes.
Who else did you have the luxury, the benefit, the wonderful, luck to meet?
I was privileged just a couple months ago to be in the garage with the legendary Jay Leno. Jay Leno, despite he had, a couple issues, accidents or whatever, but he still has that spirit. He was just
He
calm.
loves you, doesn't he? Is he one of your little fans? He's one of your fans because he told that story. He was telling a story about the memorial, and it was like all about Cassandra. I was like, Jay Leno, you stopped working on cars for a minute to know her business and to know that he picked up Paul Mooney's cousin,
Yes.
whose car broke down, and Paul Mooney was screaming, don't give her any money. I don't owe her any money. This was happening at a memorial.
Yes. I didn't know he was going to bring out that, but
Sorry.
there's a lot of comedians. I'm still waiting on Kevin Hart. Kevin, if you're out there, you need to call me. There's so many comedians that need to understand that publicity, good and bad, is really not what it used to be. And when they come into that understanding, there's going to be more work, I think, after the strike. After the strike, I think the comedians will understand and relish the opportunities, because sometimes bad publicity is not good.
It's not.
A lot of
And I
people
know
say that. A lot of people say that, but that's not true.
You mean when they say all publicity
is
No,
good?
it's not.
No, it's
Believe
not.
me. When
No.
you're chased down by Jewish women in a nursing home with canes and walkers telling you what you did to your mother-in-law was terrible. That's bad publicity.
That's
and even
bad
if I laughed
publicity.
it off, it hurts so bad.
It hurts. That's right. That's right.
But you know, I had to pray for that because I couldn't fall apart on television. But it hurt me so bad when that happened with my mother-in-law, with that lawsuit. And the strength of the community is what really got me through. And your strength is what's going to help a lot of people. Cassandra, I see this new journey for you with these new comedians coming on board. You've had a chance to meet Samantha Linderman. I mean, she has her own show she's producing. She started here.
Yes.
She's one of the youngest producers in Hollywood under 21.
You know what's going to help her? She doesn't think she knows everything.
Exactly.
That's what's going to help her. The youngsters now feel wearing a gold chain, your pants down, even some of the females who are revealing themselves physically, zip your thing up. That's not what this industry is about. There are people out there that have morals. There are people out there that have integrity. They're not all about the negative things that make people famous. That's not what we're doing. Our firm is designed, that's why we pick and choose our talent, our headaches. We're designed to enhance the positiveness of you as an individual. That's what makes us different. And technology, social media today, you control it. You control it. That's what we tell the new ones, the young ones, whatever image you want, we're going to concentrate on the positiveness. And if this is not what you want, we're not the company for you.
And listen, she will tell you that nicely. I mean, she will tell you that nicely. Not today. She will tell you not today. And, you know, we're going to have many more live portions, live segments, if you don't mind, Miss Cassandra. We do need you because I am trying to teach these young folks that the shock value thing is a little bit dead.
Correct.
And I'd like to pick up on that at another time. And I just wanted to let people know where they can find you now. And, you know, what can they do to get in touch with you? There's people calling me. How can they, you know, how do you review your people that you decide your headache?
This is something I've been blessed to do. We don't advertise. We don't advertise. 99.9% of our business is by referral. So people like you and other people in the industry that we've worked with, if you know them, call them and say, oh, she's worked for you, could you help us? To call us, we do have an office in Beverly Hills. That number is 310-858-5552. That will get you a live person who will take all your information. I will personally review it.
Well, that is just so nice to hear. You want to hear a real person. I don't want a bot anymore. I don't want to, hi, I'm Erica. Hi, I'm Erin. And I know if Erica and Erin are together, I don't know if save and don't save and can save and will save are the same. But I know one thing. You can find her at W.E.T PR and on all platforms. Am I correct?
That is correct.
That's W.E.T. And you can find me on Sunda Live at all platforms.
Yes.
And I look forward to a wonderful journey with my publicist, Cassandra Williams from W.E.T PR. Thank you.
My privilege. My privilege.